This is the trade review. I am Chase. With me, as always, my man Cody. Just so you know, you can find us on Twitter or X at Trophy Chase TFDR and at Cody Smith TFDR. Make sure you like this video and subscribe. Cody, what kind of trade we got going on? We got one with you involved here. Tell us a little bit about this league and what's happening.
This is my first USFFL Best Ball League. If you don't know what those are, we talk about them all the time over on the Destination Devy radio feed for all the podcasts over there. But basically, they're like a certain style of auction draft. The ones that I am in currently are all Best Ball, but there is some lineup ones as well. But this one is Best Ball 1 USFFL. This is a 12-team Superflex Best Ball Start 12 team, and then there's also a 36-player Devy pool asset kind of thing that you can put some players on that. I personally don't because I hate Devies, so I only own actual NFL players in this league. But what I was doing here was I actually did have one Devy asset in this league because I had Tom Brady last year during my draft. I put Bryce Young on this squad to backfill that, but different things have happened. So now the trade that happened just within the last week or two, Kyler Murray, Marvin Jones in a 24-second, Devy depleted with the 36 players coming to me, and I am giving up my Bryce Young and Juju Smith-Schuster. Chase, tell me what you think about it just on the surface.
So on the surface, I think the best player in the deal is still Kyler Murray, despite all of the offseason kind of dramatics and rumors and whatever you think about the Cardinals. I still think he's the best player in this deal. I think his dynasty value is depressed. So I like the fact that you got Kyler. You have Marvin Jones and then a Devy depleted second, which is still valuable. It's still, I would say it's close enough to a second worth of value because you do have not only Devy players, but you'll still have current players coming up in the 24 class, part of that. So it's not super depleted where it's like overwhelming because you do have, of those 36, you have some 24, some 25. And I think even now, I think we have a couple 26 players that are out there. So worthwhile there. I like Bryce Young, super excited for him, but we talk about it all the time with rookie QBs. While he might have the most value in this trade, I just don't know what he's going to be this year, maybe even next year. And then Juju's a good piece, but I'd say Juju for the second, and then I guess the second and Marvin Jones, and then you get Kyler over Bryce. So I'm all for that one.
Yeah, I'm looking at it as a straight swap Kyler for Bryce. Now I know that that's not exactly what the market is going to tell you, but in this specific context that I'll get into in a bit, I'm okay with the swap as it was made here. And as the trade was made, the 24-second was actually going to be very good, as Gabe's team that he took over this year was completely filled with Devy assets. And then he made like an 8-for-8 trade, and now it's no longer looking like it's going to be an early 24-second. Unfortunate for me, but at the time of making the trade, got to take the context as I had it at that time and see that it would have been a little bit earlier of a 24-second projected going into next year. Obviously not the case now, but getting into my team context and why I made this trade. So it's a room that I just got really lucky at with quarterback. I am, proud owner of the 101 in Dynasty, Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith, and then I had the Bryce Young share coming in to be my quarterback 4, not in terms of value, but potentially in terms of points scored this year. As I'm still trying to be a contender for this team, potentially he is going to be the quarterback 4 in points scored, as I would have it projected out right now, being a rookie and, going through all the lumps that come with that in year one, typically. So I don't really need the 4 quarterbacks on this roster. And so I was saying that, hey, if I don't need the 4th quarterback, I would rather take the long-term upside in Kyler Murray and replace that with, who I think is going to be a very good quarterback in Bryce Young. I just don't know if he's ever going to take the step into being an elite fantasy asset. I know that Kyler has been, and I think he can get back to that point.
Yeah, I mean, so you have Patrick Mahomes, Aaron Rodgers, Geno Smith, and then your 4th quarterback's Bryce Young. So it's like if you're upgrading Bryce Young to Kyler with that in best ball, like that's a very, very good quarterback room in best ball. And so like I'm all here. I'm here for that. I think Geno's got a couple of years. Aaron Rodgers should have 2 years, barring some catastrophic year in in New York. But yeah, so I really like that deal for you. I think it makes a lot of sense, gives you some flexibility with what you want to do with your roster. Maybe you can trade one of those quarterbacks if you really want to, and get like a first worth of value and put it towards, whether it's wide receiver or running back. And then on Gabe's side, you mentioned he did do, quite the turnaround. He had tons of Devy assets on there. So now he has a Justin Herbert, Trey Lance, Bryce Young type of quarterback room. Young, which is great, right? Like that's what he was looking to do. He's still a young and up and coming team, but he's now turned it into assets that are in the NFL. Bijan, so he has those types of players as well. J.K. Dobbins, Najee Harris, some younger players that will help him, in the future. So he might be a fringe playoff team after all those trades. So who knows what can happen if these guys actually do break out too.
Yeah, it could legitimately be a playoff team. And, Bryce Young, well, I don't know what the points per game is going to be for him. He's actually going to be scoring points from week one. Like he's going to be a starter, and Kyler Murray obviously is not going to be starting in the NFL for probably a good, at least minimum 6 to 8 weeks, as I'm projecting it out right now. So we'll see. But I think the points for his team after he's made the next moves actually even helps more if he does, somehow he strikes gold with this team and can really push it in. The points scored from Bryce are going to keep him alive for a little bit longer earlier in the year compared to what Kyler would be too. So I think this was a trade. I'm making this really for me because I'm looking at the quarterback scoring and the quarterback warp in the specific league. It is high leverage assets only. It is big play, big bonuses, and the amount of passing yards you put up, the amount of big plays and rushing plays that you put up as well. You can score up to like 60 points a week from the quarterback position if you're in that top 5 and that elite asset of fantasy points per game scorers. And I think Kyler can be that. I don't know if it's ever really in Bryce Young's future. While I love the floor that I think he's going to provide, whenever I'm looking for my 4th quarterback to backfill right now, and I don't need him really for a majority of this year, as I think it's going to play out with Rodgers and Geno, I'll take the upside swing and just punt it in a little bit into the future and see if I can strike gold Kyler Murray on a comeback.
Yep, absolutely love it. I think it was, again, good for both sides. With Gabe now making some additional trades to put himself in that contender mode. Juju's fine for that build. Again, having a young QB room does help. So yeah, really do like it. Anything else you want to touch on here?
No, I just want to hear what the people think on this one. Obviously, I think I'm going to get killed for this. You tell me it's a now late Devy depleted 24-second. I'm getting Kyler. Much rather have Bryce Young, Marvin Jones. Why is he even in here? He's a good best ball piece, but I think I'm going to get killed on this one. But I want to hear from people in the comments below. Let me know what you think. Even if you hate it, though, like it for Chase, not for me, and subscribe. And we'll see you next here on the Fantasy Draft Room.